Hey guys, how's it going? MasterBucks here. Welcome to another video. This time, not on FIFA 18, not on career mode. It's something totally different. A couple of months ago, I put out on Twitter just a simple tweet saying something along the lines of, I've never played Football Manager. Even though I knew it was probably a game I would absolutely love, I never had gotten around to just getting a copy or giving it a go. So it was a bit of background story. I got the game, I played around with it for a while, and then I decided to set up my big Road to Glory career mode, as you know I like to do, and I decided to take 6th tier Salford City. They're a club that's been rising in the ranks. Obviously a fair few people know them. They're quite notorious, especially for having quite a large ownership by some of the class of 92. A lot of Manchester United players have a stake in this club, and there's a lot of pretty interesting things surrounding it for a lower league, non-league team. So I thought that why not give them a go? I made them my team, and I have taken this team to the highest of, well, about the highest of heights in a 20-year period, and I am going to show you, for the first time ever, my first ever Football Manager save. And just before we get this video kicked off, I want to let you all know that this video is brought to you by Filmora.io. If any of you have thought about starting up a YouTube channel, or if you are just getting started up, then Filmora.io is a YouTube community that helps you grow and learn to become a better creator. You'll find a whole bunch of awesome free stuff on the website, such as videos, tips, channel art templates, and more. And right now, Filmora.io are giving away an ultimate GoPro prize pack worth over $800. That includes a bunch of awesome stuff such as a GoPro Hero 6, a Rode video mic, a camera gimbal, and just a bunch of awesome stuff that could really help out your videos. So be sure to check them out, guys. Their link is in the description down below, and thank you once again to Filmora.io for sponsoring this video. Ladies and gentlemen, here it is. The year is 2037, and this is my Salford City Football Manager career. I reckon the first thing that we can probably take a look at is this. Of course, I started in 2018, or in the 2017-18 season. We were in the 6th tier of English football, which is the Vanarama League North, of course. We finished second that season, got promoted up into the Vanarama North, or Vanarama National League, finished top of that competition. Then we ended up playing around in League 2 for about 3 seasons before eventually going up as runners-up. And then we played about, 2, 3, 4 seasons in League 1, went up again through the playoffs, and then we did 3 seasons in the Championship before once again going up again as runners-up into the Premier League. So how long is that? In just a little over 10 years, I took 6th tier Salford City all the way up into the Premier League. And of course, I'm sure you're noticing something. For the first few years, quite modest finishes, 14th, 14th, 11th, back down to 14th, up into 13th, and then it went I could not believe what happened. I changed my team around a little bit, made some pretty big signings after we'd saved up a bit of cash, and bang, immediately went straight up to first. I don't know what the hell happened. I didn't see it coming. I thought that, we'd be doing all right, and for sure we're going to end up in the top 10, maybe challenge for a European spot. No, we just kept winning games. We kept winning by so much as well. I went with a lot more attacking focus, and we finished on top. It was very much my Leicester City-like season. We didn't exactly just barely avoid relegation in the season prior, but from, bottom 10 to out of nowhere Premier League champions. The following season we finished in 7th. It was a bit, not all too great, but then the last season that we just had, we recovered a bit and we came very close to winning the Premier League again, but we finished for 3rd, and we are back into the Champions League after playing around in the Europa League for the last one. We'll take a look at, of course, the honours. As you can see, we have won a Premier League and a Europa League as well. The one season that I was in the Europa League, which was the last season that we'll be taking a look at it all, I did end up managing to win it. I got teams like Celtic in the semi-finals and all these other really weaker teams that I would not be expecting. I had a pretty good run to the final. We placed Atletico Madrid and then we absolutely smashed them. It was ridiculous. So we got a Europa League title, the UEFA Super Cup, the last game that we played, Manchester United won the Champions League and we beat them, and talk about a whacking. I can't wait to show you the score from that game, but that was like 5-1 or something unbelievable. And of course, we ended up getting a couple of other smaller titles here and there, like the Vanarama National League. We got a Checker Trade Trophy, which was won by our under 23s. We got an FA Trophy, which was won in my first season as well. And then this Evo Stick League First Division, which is, again, not anything that I did. That's just that was the only honour that they had when I joined the club. So this is when I took over in 2017, 2018, and of course we got promoted. But if you go even further back before I got the gig, in 2014, 2015, that's when they were in the 8th tier of English football. Up about just under 20 years later, or about 15 years later, they made it into the Premier League. And then 20 years after being in the 8th tier of English football, I've taken them all the way up and we've won the Premier League with have a look at this too. Our Premier League winning season, we got 29 wins, 4 draws, 5 losses. I think that's a big part of it too. The fact that we didn't really draw any games. Every game we were getting results. We were always winning. Scored 93 goals and conceded just 38. It's an amazing goal difference. And then 91 points, which is still by far the most we've ever gotten in a single season. And look, we went from getting 44 points in the season prior to 91. We doubled our total. If we look at a few of the records that Salford City hold, we'll take a look at things like players. Our leading goal scorer for the club is a bloke by the name of Michael Trenti, who we have moved on now that he's sort of not exactly become one of our best players, but I loaned this bloke in from Liverpool, paid about 50 million in our first season in the Premier League to keep him because he was just unreal. Scored 169 goals. He's the one that currently leads the goal scoring, but there's a few blokes in this team that I think will surpass him in no time. This bloke is definitely one of them. We're coming off a 53 goal season from a guy named Michael Payne, and again, we'll go through my squad in a second, but this dude is just unreal. Easily the best player in my team, and because of the formation I play, which I'll be honest, just a 4-4-2. I brought it back. Why not? I kept things nice and simple for my first ever Football Manager career. But I play a 4-4-2 and the strikers just get so many goals and assists. Most league appearances for the club is a bloke by the name of Max Crocombe, who is a Kiwi, who actually, I believe, is the actual goalkeeper for Salford City right now. And he played 373 games and he was with us for so long. He didn't end up becoming our Premier League goalkeeper. We let him go around League One Championship, but he was with us for so long. Of course, you can see from bouncing around all these clubs to 373 games with Salford. Most league goals in the season was Nathan Winter, probably in the Championship with 34. Youngest player, Tony Gibbs, that right at the start. Oldest player, Christian Burgess, I brought him in. That, again, is way back in, I think, the Championship. Fastest goal, 13 seconds by, again, Michael Trenti. A little bit of a club legend, I'll be honest, but we'll be going through all the club legends in a sec. Most goals in a match, 5, Michael Payne. Most league goals, 5 in the exact same game. Most assists, he's a striker, keep in mind. He scored 53 goals this season. He also got, or in the previous season, he just got 23 assists to go along with it. To show you how ridiculous this guy is and how many numbers he puts up. Like Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo type numbers here. There's only 2 really newly added club legends as well. We've got Barry Macy and Chris Lynch, who are there from the start. I'm not exactly sure who they are and we can't exactly take them out, but Michael Payne, again, we'll take a look at this bloke. He's joined us from Leeds United. We paid a good amount of money for him and he's been at the club for 4 seasons, 102 appearances, 81 goals. It's just mental. He's just mental, especially in the 4-4-2, of course. 4.5 star current ability, 4.5 star potential ability, although he sort of fluctuates between 4 and 4.5. But this guy is, there's no way, even if I got a 5-star striker in, I would replace this bloke because he is just too good. But he is a club legend along with me, of course, the guy that took you from 6th tier football all the way up to first. I think you'd have to surely consider that bloke a legend. Icons include Luis Alvarez. This is Michael Payne's strike partner, the exact same age. And even though Luis Alvarez doesn't exactly sound English, yes, he is English as well. And that is a English strike partnership for the ages as well. 3.5 star, but I swear he just went down from 4, which is surprising. And this bloke, again, 123 appearances, 96 goals. His goal ratio is probably just about as good as Michael Payne's, but he's just a little lower rated and maybe doesn't score as regularly. Jake Beasley, this bloke was with us for a long time down in the lower leagues, as was Nick Horton. Ben Falami is an actual Australian player who's like with Ipswich right now, horribly rated in other games like FIFA, but he was brilliant for us. Isaac Buckley-Ricketts. Now, some of you maybe will recognise this bloke because he was part of the under-18 World Cup win that England had, of course. It's nice to see England being able to win the World Cup in some form. But Isaac Buckley-Ricketts was part of that team, and I brought him in around League 2 or Vanarama National League, around about that point, and he made, let's see how many, I don't know exactly how many appearances he made, but look, from 2019 when we brought him into 2029, so a good 10-year part of his career was spent at Salford. Nathan Winter was a pretty solid striker for us in the Championship, and Jack Redshaw, I'm going to talk about this guy because even though he's retired now, he plays for Salford City right now in real life, and this dude was like 4.5, 5 stars straight away when I loaded up the career mode, and he was unreal. In 137 appearances, he was actually at Salford City before as well, there you go. But in 137 appearances, 100 goals especially. And I remember he had to score, I think it was a brace in the last league game of the season because I was letting him go because he was getting on. He'd the rest of the team had gotten too good and he was tailing off a bit. So I'm like, nah, it's time to let you go, son. and he scored a brace in his last game and got 100 goals. And I remember actually going fucking crazy. It was it was really funny. Tom Walker, who was again another fantastic player, and he's again currently playing for Salford City right now, retired already, at 29 years of age too. Wow. I mean, a lot of these boys just wrap up their careers at Salford and then that's that. But Michael Trenti is the last one as well, 30 years of age. We sold him to Watford for about 50 million and we bought him from Liverpool for about the exact same. And now look at him. He's tailed off to about a $12 million value. He's on 240 grand a week as well. Now, before I move on and actually show you my squad as it is right now, I will tell you that we actually have a brand new stadium as well. Not super recently. It's only about 6 or 7 years old, but we have Salford Stadium. It's just under 35,000 seats. It built in 2030, and we got that as soon as we went up into the Premier League, which I'm not too surprised about. We had this less than 10,000 seater stadium for our entire run to the Premier League, and then when we finally got to the Premier League, I think the board was like, actually no, we can't be a Premier League club and have like a stadium with only 9,000 capacity. So they said, no, let's build a new one. I'll be quite honest, I'm very insulted that they didn't name this stadium after me as well. Like, just not to boost my ego or anything, but Salford Stadium, of course, built in 2030. Hopefully it'll be named after me at some point. I feel like it should be. I mean, for fuck's sake, I took you all the way up from the 6th tier to the bloody top tier. But, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for me to show you my squad. This Salford City team in 2037. And I'll be honest, I'm pretty happy with how I've got it at the moment. This is just before we start our Premier League season as well. The first game that I have is against Everton. Domingo is my goalkeeper. He is like 21 years of age, 4-star skills, 4.5-star potential. I paid, and I just said fuck it with this, I paid £100 million to PSG for this guy. I said, stuff it. He is by far the best goalkeeper in the game and he can still get better. There was another bloke I was trying to get for 80 million, but he wanted too much cash. The board wouldn't let me get him, so I ended up settling with Domingo. And I've already played a few games with him. The dude's a freak. My back four includes Jesus Escobedo, Nikolai Idrisov, Ricky Davis, who is my captain too, by the way, and Say Mohammed. My right winger is Arau, the Brazilian. Lars Larsen and Ruud Ernest are my centre midfielders. Nikola Bengulia, a Croatian too, by the way, is on the left-hand side. And then this strike partnership of Luis Alvarez and Michael Payne, which when they're done, they will be considered one of the best strike partnerships ever. From, Shearer and Sutton to Henry and Bergkamp. No, Alvarez and Michael Payne. A pretty solid group of reserves and bench players as well. No player that's lower than 2.5 stars. So every single player is at least a fairly good to good rating for the senior team. And I've got a lot of 4.5 star players, a lot of players on the rise, 4-star players. So the team is quite solid. And again, we're contending for Premier League and we're in the Champions League as well. If you wanted to go specifically into my tactics, you've got a 4-4-2 formation. And these are the team instructions that I've eventually gone with. I used to just counter-attack and defend right at the beginning of the Premier League. But in the season where I ended up winning the Premier League, going from 14th, 14th, 11th, 14th, 13th to 1st, I actually said, stuff it. I went with an attacking mentality with a fluid team shape. And my team instructions, it's like for a 4-4-2 formation, I've just gone with direct passing, hitting in early crosses, really going out wider, dropping deeper because I was sick to death of always just a ball going over the top of my back four and conceding. I was done with it, close down more, get stuck in, and a higher tempo, which basically means that I will have almost none of the ball for the majority of the game. I can finish a game with like 40% possession, but take 25 shots to their 0, win a game 6-0, but still end up with way less possession. And really, I don't even find it really affects things that much, so I'm cool with it. It works against both inferior opposition and pretty good teams as well, so I'll take it. The overall balance of the club after I've really spent quite a fair bit of cash, to be honest. Look, I'm going to fail. I'm maybe going to fail financial fair play because of my player wages going up too much, but that'd be a first. Anyway, I'll try to avoid that happening. But the actual value of the club right now is only worth 88 million or something. But at the start, it was not even $1 million, I don't think. It was incredible. The TV money that you get from the Premier League is just so stupid how much you actually earn just for being in the Premier League. If we went down to the Championship, we would be screwed because I would be playing Premier League players, Premier League wages in the Championship as Salford. It'd be over. The club would go into ruin. But I think the highest the club was ever valued at some point after I just decided to say, f it. Like, look at this. That one transfer of Dominigo for 100 million took us from this to this. It nearly was a little over half or just under half of the entire club's, financial balance. If you want to look at my career stats specifically, then we can take a look at things like games played. I've been in charge of 1,035 games recently. I've won 498 games, so we're coming pretty close to that number 500. That should be pretty good. We've got club games drawn, 201, club games lost, 336, 1,823 goals scored for, 1,460 against, and my win percentage is about 48% from, 6th tier football to top tier football, and especially, we had 4 or 5 seasons in the Premier League where we were not that good. We were just surviving relegation more often than not. So to be able to have a just under 50% win ratio, I'm going to take that. I think that's okay. Just the 3 cups, just the 2 league wins, but 5 league promotions. I actually haven't won in the 20 years, despite, what we've done with Salford. I haven't actually won an awful lot of silverware, even though I have won the Premier League and the Europa League and the UEFA Super Cup. It's all awesome, but still haven't won the FA Cup. I've made the FA Cup final twice and lost both times, very annoyingly. The highest I've ever spent for a player, of course, Domingo, which was that 100 million. I just said stuff it for that one. And the highest fee I've ever received was a $78 million offer. Now, I don't even know if this should count because the board just accepted this. Or it might have actually been maybe a release clause that I just did not expect anyone to pay for. But it was Stoke City who were surprisingly loaded in this game out of nowhere after 20 years. But that guy in question that Stoke City paid 78 something million for was like a 4, he was 4.5 when we bought him, honestly. And he was one of those, it was like one of my analysts found him, and he cost us absolutely nothing. And even his wage was so low, and he was a 4.5 star player straight up. Like, we bought him from some Serbian club, and it was ridiculous. And he really helped lead us and pushed our team over the edge to maybe being competitive in the Premier League. I'll be honest too, by the way, like my contract with Salford City, like Manchester City and Manchester United and a lot of the big clubs that are contending for the Premier League, they pay their managers over 100 grand a week. Why am I still getting paid 25 grand a week? And I've had to barter them pretty hard too here for this, which is kind of a bit bullshit. Like, after all I've done, surely I've got to earn a pay. When's the paycheck coming? Anyway, though, maybe enough about me. Maybe what I will do is we'll take a look at the world as a whole 20 years later with Salford City now out of nowhere joining the top ranks. But you can see that Man City, they correctly predicted that they'd win the Premier League season. They predict Manchester City to win this upcoming Premier League season as well. Then it was Chelsea, City United. You'll notice a trend. It is just those 3 clubs that won Premier League titles ever since we started this thing. And then your boy Salford came in like a bloody freight train. 2034-2035 season, we ended up winning it, and then it went right back to Manchester City, Manchester United again. We'll look at the FA Cup too, which is still the highest ranked cup competition in the world. Manchester City, Burnley winning it. Burnley going to win the FA Cup this season. That's what Football Manager says anyway. Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, Manchester United. Oh my God, we've got to talk about Liverpool in a second, don't worry. Chelsea, Manchester United, again, all these same clubs. Stoke City, we were runners-up twice in the FA Cup. So frustratingly. It was so goddamn annoying. But yes, Stoke City, they did indeed beat us in the 2034-2035. So we nearly did the double. We nearly did the Premier League and the FA Cup. That'd have been great. And then Manchester City beat us in the final in the last FA Cup, which was very, very annoying. So hopefully one day we'll get there, but not quite. We'll look at the winners of the Champions League as well. We have Chelsea, after obviously they said that Barcelona would win in the season prior, but Chelsea won 4 in a row, which is absolutely crazy stuff. And I tell you what, Maurizio Sarri has got that team absolutely firing. Manchester United, Man City. So 6 English teams in a row winning the Champions League after not winning it since what? Chelsea in 2012. That's mental stuff. Real Madrid back to Chelsea. Tottenham winning in 2027. Man City, Bayern Munich finally getting amongst it. Real Madrid again. Manchester United, Bayern, Real Madrid, Chelsea again, and Manchester United. Just insane. Like the English teams out of nowhere. It's just absolutely firing in the Champions League. It's been so long, but there you go. The most recent Champions League final was a Manchester United versus Manchester City final. That would be something, I tell you what. And then in the Europa League, you may notice that the team on top right now, the most recent winners, were of course Salford City, because we'll maybe take a look at the, our route to the final itself a little more in depth, but it was just brilliant. The final was terrific. We won like 4-5-1 against Atletico Madrid, who kind of dropped off a little bit in the La Liga season. But anyway, you got a few odd names here or there popping up. Barcelona won it the season prior as well, which is shocking to think that they'd be in the Europa League. But in the round of 32, we ended up getting like Palermo, so that's not a bad fixture to get in the round of 32. Then we got OM or Marseille, which maybe is slightly tougher, but we were able to get past them. After that, we had Lyon, which is surprisingly enough. So there you go, the two French rivals going at it there, but we were able to get past them. Celtic had a 3-3 draw in the first game, but thankfully came back to, look at this, win 5-0. Absolutely mental stuff. Ended up facing Atletico Madrid, and we all know what happened in the final. And I thought it was a big win. Maybe it was a little less bigger than I thought, but a 3-0 victory for us over them. So that we, not exactly European champions, but we have won a European title. We were in the 6th division when I took over. How's that? We'll take a look at the Ballon d'Or as well. I'm trying to go through everything, or as much as I can here. Suarez, Ronaldo, Griezmann, Dybala, Neymar, all the names that you'd maybe expect to be up there. Suarez is still a bit surprising though, but still. Arp, who's like this who was a younger up-and-coming player at Bayern Munich. This bloke as well, Pietro Pellegrini, who went to Manchester. He was at Real Madrid, then he went to Manchester City. He's 36 years of age now, but whenever I do a career mode or whenever I do a football manager save ever again, he will always be my first signing. Because this dude is like the wonder kid of football manager, in my opinion. And then you got a couple of new generated players as well that have ended up winning it a couple of times too. But I tell you what, I reckon we would probably have a Salford City player come pretty close here. Now, even though we've never technically had a player win the FIFA Ballon d'Or or World Footballer of the Year or anything like that, we do have Michael Payne in maybe not exactly the team of the year, but he's on the team of the year bench, unfortunately, which seems kind of crazy because look at this. All right, so this bloke's got what? 34 goals, 33 goals, 33 goals, 43 goals. All right, impressive, but he scores 38 goals in 48 appearances, maybe goal ratio or something like that. I mean, his overall rating is higher than like the majority of these guys, so I feel like it's a bit bullshit he didn't make it into the team of the year, but still, he's in there just to show you Michael Payne is our star player. So far, the biggest transfer is still that Kylian Mbappe from Monaco to PSG, the transfer that actually happened, but we've got Juan Manuel Contreras, who's gone from Real Madrid to Manchester United, Vesele, who's like a Ballon d'Or winner as well, Gonzalo Guedes went to Real Madrid for £134 million. God damn. Lozano, who's a new player, Cabasele as well, Acquire, I think, is 1-2. Dybala, of course, went to Real Madrid, 110 million. That maybe might happen if Eden Hazard doesn't go, and a few other players here and there as well. Harry Kane went to Manchester United too, by the way, for a little over 100 mil. And of course, because I said stuff, and I did it for the clout, I just spent $100 million on a player. Just again, we're like Salford City. We were a non-league club when I started. Now 20 years later, we're spending £100 million on players, buying them off of PSG for Domingo. Well, there we go, everybody. I think I showed about as much to you as I possibly could, and I know this video was maybe a bit of a longer one, but I'm sure there'll hopefully be quite a fair few of you that'll appreciate this video because I've never posted any football manager related stuff before. And, you know, I've well and truly caught the bug. You know, I pick up the game, and I used to only play it whenever I was away, whenever I was traveling, whenever I was on planes and stuff like that, or whenever I'd just be, in my hotel room just chilling and I wanted something to do. Like, I'd probably sit down and play this game quite a fair bit, but now I'm playing it regularly at home. It is genuinely distracting me from my actual work, which is really annoying. So, yes, I now know exactly, wow, yeah, okay, well, that's in the video. I know exactly what people are talking about when they say they get addicted to this game, because it is very, very addicting, and it's also very eye-opening because it kind of just shows you like how much more could be done in career mode, and the effort never gets put in. It's quite upsetting, but hey, at least that's why we've got this game. If you know, you never really go down that avenue of really just putting so much more into career mode, then at least we've got this, because it is quite fun, and I genuinely am having an awful lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing what more I can do with this team. But again, I don't know. I don't think I'll be posting an awful lot more like football manager content. This was just a video that a lot of you guys requested after I've been talking about how I've been doing this with Salford City on my Twitter and stuff like that, and yeah, a few of you guys asked for the video, so here you go. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more football manager related content, then by all means let me know. I don't have any immediate plans, but yeah, I just thought I'd show this off to you because there were quite a fair few of you that were asking for it, so there you go. Until the next one, guys, my name is MasterBucks. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a good one.